Hi guys, so I am going to show a tutorial. This is a highly requested tutorial, and this is just going to be on how to turn these really fun plates into pockets. And there's something that has been around in the crafty community forever, and it's called a loaded pocket. And basically it's just where you make a pocket out of something and you load it full of goodies. Now I did a bunch of these for my Halloween boom mail, which I will put a link in the description bar too if you want to see this in action. And now it is time to make some Christmas ones. This is a really fun project to do if you just want to fill it up with some goodies to share with a crafty friend, or even if it's a non-crafty friend, you want to put fun stuff in it. You want to put face mask in it, or little beauty products. It's just a really cute way basically to present something to someone. So I'm going to be using one of my favorite brands today, which is My Mind's Eye. And I'm going to show you an example of some different ways that we can do a loaded pocket. So I have some different shaped items here. Okay, so the first item that I'm going to make a pocket out of is this gingerbread plate. And as you can see, most of the things that I'm going to use, although they are actually plates that were intended to be utilized for like a festive holiday, a lot of them have a little flat edge around them, and that is important. I mean, I think almost every disposable plate, even if you're just using a round one, has like that little flat edge, and that's going to be important for adhering our little pocket to the plate. So when you're choosing stuff, you want to make sure that it has somewhat of a surface. Now, this surface doesn't have to be too big, but that is something that you want to pay attention to when you're choosing. So the first one we're going to do is this gingerbread, and I think I'm probably going to have the pocket maybe come up to right about here. And so that's going to be super cute. Okay, another pocket that we're going to do, this is in a different shape. This is more of a rectangular shape, but this is so cute. This is a little Santa's workshop, as you can see. And this is another set of plates that come from My Mind's Eye. And this comes in a pack of 9. And actually, there's 3 different designs on here. So this is super cute. I'm like in love with these. I bought several sets of these. And I will leave the link to My Mind's Eye, the website. They're actually having a sale as of the time that I'm recording this. So maybe hop over there and see if you can look in their sale section and see if you can get some of these goodies on sale. But I thought this was really cute. And so there are 9 of these. And so that is one option. And then this is more similar to just a round plate. And here we have like what looks like a little snow globe. And this section right here is actually also raised. And so what I think I'm going to do for here, just to show you something different and how you would maybe make a round pocket, is I think I'm going to actually make the pocket come to about here, but I'm actually going to close off the pocket down here and leave this exposed. And so we're going to try that out as well. So I'm going to show you 3 different plate designs to try to answer, any questions you may have. And this is super simple. Now, this is a sewing project, but there are other ways to do this, and I have shown other ways on my channel. So what I think I will do is the beginning of the tutorial will be on the way I normally do it, which is with the sewing machine. I know many of us have sewing machines that are collecting dust that we think we don't know how to use. And I made it a goal this year to use mine. And so I'm going to show you that first. Then I'm going to show you another way that you can make these that is not with a sewing machine. And then I'll probably give you some ideas of some other ways that you can do this at the very end. Okay, so let me pull out my sewing machine and let's get to it. Okay, so we are at my sewing machine now, and the sewing machine that I utilize is a very old sewing machine, but it is called the Brother SE400. I've had this machine likely about a decade, and it's still going strong. I have not been using it all of those 10 years, but it does the job. And any basic sewing machine, because we were just going to use a regular straight stitch, and then on one of them, I'm going to show you it with zigzag stitch, but any basic sewing machine should do the job. So the first thing you want to do is determine what color thread you want to use and thread your machine according to your directions. For those of you who are pulling out sewing machines for the first time, I highly recommend that you do a quick YouTube search with your machine number. So say your machine is called the Singer ABC. I suggest that you type in Singer ABC into the YouTube search box and like beginners unboxing or something like that. And it can show you all the ins and outs of your machine, because all machines vary, but every sewing machine does a straight stitch and every sewing machine does a basic zigzag, no matter how cheap or expensive your machine is. So that is the first thing that we're going to do here. Another thing that I want to talk about is the fact that I utilize the same thing that I utilize for my shakers, which is and acetate. Now I use transparencies, and I find that that's the most economical way to do shakers and to buy acetate. You can use whatever you want. If you want to use vinyl, you can buy that by the roll at Hobby Lobby. I also have that, and I've used that. It's a little stretchier than acetate, but I think honestly, for what we're doing, you can just use a basic piece of acetate. And I will put a link in the description bar to the brand that I've been using forever, and it is way cheaper than utilizing craft branded acetate, or even using laminating sheets, which I know also is something that people do. But it is a very economical purchase. It lasted me a long time, and I make a lot of shakers. Okay, so I am going to grab that, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I grabbed the first plate that we're gonna sew, and I also grabbed a sheet of my transparency, which may be kind of see-through. I also want to note that this transparency sheet is 8.5 by 11, so it's just your standard, US letter. And something about our next step is, it may seem like you want to, figure out the size of this and then cut this out, but I actually do not do that. So I find it easier if I do a very rough cut around where I think I'm going to sew, and then I save the neat cut for at the end after I've sewn it. And I feel like that just gives me a little more wiggle room, just in case I make a mistake, I end up crooked, all the things. Okay, so I am going to figure out, and I think when we were talking earlier, I think I said I was going to line it up to right about here. So I basically just hold up the transparency right about, of course I want to save materials, right? So I don't want to put this in the center of this, but I'm probably going to look at, okay, I want it to go up to right about there, and I need just about this amount. And I'm basically going to hold this down and probably just roughly trim down here and over here. Okay, and then that way I can save the other side of this. Or I may actually, because I would only have this much left, I may put it more towards the middle, like that, and then just kind of do a straight cut right along here. Now, this is another item that I find to be extremely helpful, are these little quilting clips. Now, I will put a link to these in the description bar. I got 100 pack of these for like $6 on Amazon. They're very economical. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go around. I'm going to look at this, and this is kind of hard to do with the camera in my face, but what I'm going to basically do is hold this up to where I want my pocket to begin, and I'm going to just use one of these clips to just kind of put that on there. I know a lot of times in sewing we use pins, but if we use pins for this, we would be putting a hole in our acetate. Another very good option that you may want to utilize are these clips from the Dollar Tree. These are in a 6-pack for $1.25. They're amazing. I use them a lot. Or even one of these kind of bulldog binder clip kind of things, or whatever kind of clip you use. I find these to be the best, but sometimes when I need a little bit more like pinning room, like this only goes up to here, right? Like when I get to this side, the acetate is kind of sticking out. So if I wanted to do it straight, I probably could. But likely what I would do would be hold it as straight as I can. And remember that we're not gluing anything down here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But I would probably go more at an angle here and just stick that right on there like that. And then down here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a very rough chop at the bottom here, as if we're cooking, right? And just cut off some of this. And this one sheet of paper could probably do 2 different pockets, and it is going to do 2 different pockets for me. So I'm going to kind of just look down here, and I'm going to cut, relatively straight across. It doesn't have to be perfect here. And that's the thing that I like about doing a rough cut now, and then we will make it super neat at the very end. After we have stitched all the way around here, we will go back and then cut like right next to here. Okay, so we're just kind of giving ourselves a little wiggle room. We still have another half of this sheet left, which we're going to use for our next plate that we're going to do. And if you want, you could put a few more clips down here if you're kind of, worried, because we are going to take off this clip almost immediately. So if you're like me and this is not fitting, good, or you say you're using the quilting clip, just cut a little bit closer, and then just, we don't have to be neat here, but if you just need a little more space, so now I can actually fit my little quilting clip on here. So that is what I do. I just kind of do a little makeshift rough estimate. And again, this does not have to be perfectly straight. What you can do now is hold it up and kind of line it up and see if it's straight. Now, I always put something across here. I just think it looks better if you put like pom-pom trim, or sometimes I make some ruffle trim, which I will make a tutorial on shortly. That was another heavily requested item. But yeah, I will have, this does not have to be perfect, especially if you're going to put like a thicker trim, but if you're going to put a thinner trim, then try to get it, straight enough. But remember, this is, you know, these projects are handmade, and it's okay if they look a little homemade too, okay? All right, so now that we have pinned, but we've used our clips to do it, we are gonna head back to our machine. Okay, we are gonna start stitching on the right side, and you wanna remember that whatever thread that you put into your machine, that you top thread, is gonna be on the top, and whatever is in your bobbin is what's gonna be on the back. Now, I'm using white on both just because I think it's going to be cute and it'll be a nice contrast, so you'll be able to see in the video. But if you are using a different color, you know, upper thread than your bobbin thread, make sure that you know that the thread that's going to show is the one that is in your upper thread, okay? So let's go to our machine and let's start sewing. Okay, so I am going to start stitching, and I am going to do this like, you know, live and at real-time speed. But something that I want to note, just in case you can't see, my acetate starts right here, and I'm going to start slightly above my acetate, and I'm going to do a forward stitch, and then I'm going to back stitch, and then go back forward again. And that's just to reinforce, you know, where I think the most tension is going to be, which is, you know, right at the edge of the pocket. So I am going to start right about here. I'm going to go forward, I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm going to go forward again. And then I'm just going to follow this line all the way around. Okay, so let's do it. I always go a little bit slowly around the corners just because, you know, but as you get, you know, better at sewing, this becomes a lot easier. And when I show you the little North Pole house, you won't have to worry about taking these corners. So, you know, maybe a gingerbread man isn't your first your first shot at doing a loaded plate. Maybe your first one is just like a round one, you know, and that's okay. That's still super cute. I'm going to take this clip out. As you can see, as I get closer, I just kind of remove the clips. And yeah. And I'm also sewing this with the obstruction of this camera. So I'm going to go even slower than I may do. Normally I would be like listening to an audiobook and doing this, and it's actually kind of relaxing, I find. If you need to, you know, ever straighten up, and again, this does not have to be perfect, okay, guys? Like, it's fine. I am definitely a beginner sewer. Like, I bought this machine 10 years ago and attempted a very ambitious first project. I made my son's nursery set. I decided that I was going to start off just strong, you know, and that's what I did. And that son is now 10. I bought the machine a little bit before he was born. And then it sat for a while. So I just started sewing again this year. Okay, so now when I get to the very end here of my pocket, I'm going to do the same thing where I go a little bit past it, and then I want to back stitch just because I want to make sure that it's nice and tight right here, and then I'm going to go forward again just because and honestly, sometimes I even back stitch again because I'm just like, I don't want this thing to fall apart. Now, is this going to be holding like heavyweight stuff? Probably not, but I just think it can't hurt. And then that's it. My machine automatically cuts. For specific questions about your machine, again, do that YouTube search because I will not be able to answer them as I do not know. I barely know everything there is to know about this machine, but as you can see right here on the edge, you'll see it's a little bolder than the stitch all the way around. And here's the other back stitch right there. Okay, and so now I'm going to move our sewing machine out of the way, and look, even here, look, it's a little wobbly. It's okay, it's cute, it adds to the appeal. It looks, and actually this thread that I use is not just a basic white, it's actually like a glittered white thread that I got from Leanna, who's It's a Deal. Thank you, Leanna. And so now we have our finished thing. So let's back out a little bit and then let's talk. Okay, so as you can see, we have stitched all the way around. So we have our thing is looking like a pocket. And so in here, this is where you would put your goodies. So as you can see, like I said before, I like to leave the cutting and the trimming until the very end. So now we have a lot of hangover. So we're just gonna cut all of that and I will show you that. I'll speed this up a little bit, I think. Or maybe I'll just do it and save myself the editing. But we are gonna trim around here and then we're gonna be done with this pocket. Amazing. Okay, when I'm trimming, I like to trim it from the back side because I just find it easier to get like a straight, straight edge when I do that. So I mean, this is, very simple. I use, regular scissors and I just cut around here, which again, I'm being obstructed by the camera. And again, this is clear. So if it's not, perfect, it's okay. If you want to leave a little more space and do like, have a little outline of 1/8 of an inch around here, that is totally fine. There are no rules here. But I usually just kind of go close, but I do not stress myself out about this part because scissors, I know, okay? The sewing machine, I'm a little iffy, but scissors I know how to use. So we're just gonna go around here. We're gonna trim around here and then I'll be back when we're all trimmed. Okay, so now we are all trimmed. We have our pocket and we are done. We're gonna just trim our little threads here. And I'm gonna show you how to do this. We started with the hardest one first, I think. So we did, if you can do this one, you can definitely do the round one. You can definitely do the little Santa house. I'm gonna do the little house next, and we are gonna use a zigzag stitch for that. So I'm gonna talk to you about a couple of things, but yeah. So when we got down here, something happened here. I don't know what, but I'm not gonna worry about this. If this happens to you, just on the back here around the section where it happened, just put like some glue, because what happens if you break the stitch like this, and sometimes this just happens. I couldn't tell you why, but if this happens to you, it's okay. If you feel pressured to like fix it, you can actually put it back through your machine and just do a little back stitch here, go around there and do another back stitch. If you don't want to, you can just trim this, but in the back here, put some glue to make sure that your stitches stay in, and that's what I'm gonna do. So let me do that, get the glue, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have a little glue here, and I'm literally just gonna this glue does not dry tacky. I'm just gonna put some glue right here, just to make sure that my stitches don't come out. And I'm gonna leave this, I leave these kind of things in here because my sewing machine is like my Cricut. Sometimes you do stuff and it's great, you have no issues, and other times you have all the issues. So we are problem solvers in crafting because we always have and encounter, things that seem impossible. And literally that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this off to the side to dry, and then when it's dry, I'm gonna just clip this, and that is gonna be done, okay? So we are done. Our little Gingy looks so cute, and he is ready to be decorated, which will be part of, I guess, our series. So this is our first step in our series, and I will teach you how to do a little ribbon trim here also on the sewing machine, and then we will use that to decorate. But right now, if you don't wanna do that, if you have some pom-pom trim, you could just literally hot glue some right to here, and then you would be totally done. So I think that he came out so stinking cute, and let's do our North Pole house next. Okay, so we are all pinned. I used the other half of my transparency sheet. I used my quilting clips. I just put 4. You can put as many as you want. If you want to put a 5th one down here, that's fine too. And now we're going to take this to our machine. So something that we want to note, because I'm going to do a zigzag stitch here, is we have quite a bit of distance here. I would say almost half an inch. So we have a lot of space right here. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you're on your machine, and again, do not ask me how to do this on your machine because I do not know. Look up how to change the stitch length and the stitch width and all that stuff in your instruction manual that comes with your machine, or do a quick Google search. But I'm going to try to make sure that my zigzag stitch is not going to be bigger than half an inch. And the way that I do that a lot of times, you guys, is what do? I sew on paper. So I'm going to do a little test to see how big I want my stitch to be, how long I want my stitch length, how wide I want it to be. And once I find something that I like, then I'm going to keep those settings, and I'm going to show you some test of that in 1 second. Okay, so here's an example of me just playing around with my, this is the standard one that starts, I think it was like 3.5 by 1.4. And then this is just playing around and changing it to be 4.5 or changing it to be 4.5 by 2. And I'm going to just basically hold up my plate here, and I'm going to hold up my stitches, and I'm going to decide which one I want. And I like how wide this one is. Now, if you are making a shaker, which I will do in a whole nother video because that's a whole nother thing, then you may want to do your stitches pretty close together because you don't want any sequins and stuff to be able to come out of them, or those tiny little annoying glitter kind of sequins that can slide through. But for this plate, I kind of like how big this looks, and I think I'm going to like how that's going to look on here. So I'm going to go with my third option here. But again, play around with your machine, okay? Don't be afraid of your machine. And I just literally put this under here, and I'm like, all right, let me like make an adjustment. Like, let me change this to be this, and then I just stitch. And then I don't even backstitch or anything, and I just look at it and I'm like, okay, what do I think? Let me look at it. See how this one looks different than this one? So I like this one. That's what I'm gonna go back to. I'm gonna change back my thing here. And if you want, you can label these so that you can have like, I've done this before where I literally have like the stitch number, and then I have like I don't even know if these are called lengths and widths, but that's what I call them. The first number for me is the width, and the second number is the length. And then you can label these. So then you can kind of keep this next to your machine. You can laminate this if you want, and you can kind of just keep this as like a little guide near your machine so you know what measurements you like. But I am going to use this third one here. And so I'm just going to take, I already have my clip. I'm going to take my clip off here. I already have my machine to the, to the right settings. My machine is a computerized machine, I think, because it does do embroidery, which I have also dabbled in, but I haven't done it in a long time. And again, I'm just going to start right here, right past where the pocket is going to start. And as you can see here, it kind of tilts it to the side because this is a deeper plate than the other one that we had before, but that is okay. That also works. And you want to take note of where your needle is. So I'm not even sure if you guys are seeing. Let me kind of go down in an angle here. This is my needle, and it is in the right position, which means that first it's going to go here and then it's going to go that way. So I want to make sure that my plate is lined up appropriately, okay? And I just know this from experience, and because I am being dangerous and I want a bigger stitch length. Now, if you do a smaller stitch length, you don't have to worry about this because no matter what, it's going to work. But because I like to do things the hard way, and I am never scared. This is what I do, okay? So I'm going to go over enough, like to the far right enough where it's gonna make sure I don't miss the plate. But if I miss the plate, then I miss the plate. I try again, okay? So let me try to show you guys this while sewing, while recording. And this first step is always where you're like, okay, is it gonna work? Are we holding our breath? Maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna go start right here, and I'm a little bit past my little guy here, and I'm gonna just start stitching. And look, I went forward. I just reached my acetate, and now I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna go forward again because I told you guys I like to make sure that this thing is not gonna fall apart, because there's nothing worse than a project that is falling apart. So I'm just gonna do that. And the nice thing about stitching when you're crafting is that it's cute. Like the having, extra stuff adds character. As you can see, my machine is making a lot more noise because I'm doing a zigzag stitch. I'm not just doing a straight stitch. So I think that even though this is more drama, it's going to be worth it in the end. All right, so as we get to this corner, I'm going to just go, because it does curve. It doesn't go, now you can just go that way and go that way, but I think it might be cute to curve. So of course, that's what I'm going to try to do because I never shy away from a challenge. Okay, we're gonna just look, we made it. Okay, we made it to the other side. We made it. Okay, I know the people who are like real sewing people are probably like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. Keep those comments to yourself, okay? Thank you. This works for me. This is what I'm gonna keep doing. Unless you have something helpful and you want to be nice, then I would love to hear it, because I am, like I said, certainly a beginner. But if you are a, mean, crotchety sewer, then this is not the place for you. It's not the channel for you, okay? Over here we have fun and we're nice. I'm going around that corner again. And I'm going to slow down a little bit here. And look, we made it. We're on the other side, guys. We're almost done. Does anybody have any tips on how to sew in a straight line? Because it's like the age-old question, like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because honestly, I wish I could tell you that I had a way that I do this, but I don't. I just literally look at it and I'm like, does it still look straight? And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay. So we're gonna go forward and backwards here, because remember, we don't want our project to come apart at the seams, literally. Okay, and so we're gonna be extra bold on the end here, and that's okay. And then that's it. We're gonna let our thread cut. I'm gonna back up and show you, and then we're gonna be done with this one. Okay, guys, look, we did it. And again, we're extra bold on our edges here. And we went around, and we went all the way around, and we have a pocket. Cute, cute, right? All right, so like I said before, I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm gonna go around. This one is easier to cut because I don't have all those curves like I had in my gingerbread man. So if you can do the gingy, you can definitely do this one. And don't cut so close, I have to tell myself this, that you cut your stitches. But if you do, again, we know our glue trick, right? I don't want to cut my plate too. I want to keep my plate. Like this stitch, you see how it's so close to the edge? If I cut too close to the edge, or if I'm cutting the plate more than just the acetate, if I'm cutting the plate, then I'm going to snip my stitches. And we don't want to cause problems for ourselves, okay? We know how to fix it though, but if we can avoid it, that is what we like to do. Okay? Look at that. So we have our little piece there. We are going to trim our little threads right here. So we're going to pull this guy up and trim him. We're not trimming anything else over here. And then we have the back. I'm going to trim my thread right here. I'm going to trim this. And then this pocket is done, you guys. We have a pocket. Yay, 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 yay. And we are going to do one more. And it's round. So we have done a little curve here, which has prepared us to do a circle. And then we are going to be done. So let's go get our snow globe and we'll be right back. Okay, so with a little movie magic, I have, remember when we talked earlier, we said that we were going to do a pocket that went around here and left this exposed, which we are still going to do. So I did roughly cut around here. And then also I changed my thread to be a cute pink thread instead of the little white thread we were using, because I just thought it would have a nicer contrast on here. So we are all ready to sew. So let's get to the machine. We're going to go back to a straight stitch here because straight stitch is just a little easier, and I'm not feeling as bold as I was 5 minutes ago. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna go forward here, and we're gonna back stitch a bunch of times just to make sure that we do not have any issues. And then we are just gonna do a straight stitch around. So this is a lot easier. And I'm gonna take this out. We are going around here, and I want to go like right in line. Oh no, actually I can't go in line because so my plate starts to get like deep in here, so I can't actually follow. I was going to follow this pink line and I can't actually do that. So I'm going to just follow my plate instead, which is going to just basically, it's going to cut through a little bit of this this cream colored like decor on here, but that's okay. I just, because I need to make sure that my pocket is an actual pocket. Okay, so we can't, I would have liked it to have been perfectly neat, but I don't know if you can actually see here that it dips below where the pink starts. So we're actually just gonna follow the plate. Instead of, okay, and I'm going to remove this clip. Okay, I'm going to remove this clip. Now we are back on the edge of the plate again. Gonna get to the end, and we're gonna go past it, and then we're gonna back stitch, and then we're gonna forward stitch again, and we're gonna back stitch again. And then that's it. so now we have sewn this. We're gonna back up, trim, and I'm gonna show you what we got. Okay, so we have sewn here, and I'm gonna do kind of a close-up so you can see our stitches, and we went all the way around. And now when we get to right here to cut this, I'm just gonna get my little small fussy cutting scissors because I think that that'll do a cleaner job here. And let me just grab those. They're all the same, but they're just in different sizes. And I'm gonna do the back as far as I can. So I'm gonna just cut around here. And I'll stop there, and I'm actually gonna come around here and do over here as well. So I'm gonna just cut up, and then I'm gonna go around just so I know where I'm meeting. Okay, so here on the sides it's cut, but then when I get here, I'm gonna actually continue this line on. So I'm gonna just stick my scissors underneath just the acetate, and I'm gonna just kind of trim at an angle here. And I wanna be careful not to cut over my stitches. So I'm gonna use my finger to help me. And again, it's clear, so this is not, you know, this does not have to be perfect, okay? I've never actually done this, so we're learning about this together. But I thought when I saw this snow globe, I thought it would be cute to leave that bottom part out. And if you want to, you can actually decorate the bottom. I haven't really thought about it. Of course, I will show the final result of these on a later video on my channel. But today we are just focused on making our plates into a pocket. And then because I cut over here, I know what I need to meet up with. And that's the reason why I did that, to give myself a way to attempt to make it looks like I did it on purpose. See that? Okay, so we have some the bottom here, which is not perfect, but it's okay because it's clear. And now we just want to trim our threads on both sides here. And that is it, you guys. Look, so cute, right? All right, so we have this one that we made with the straight stitch. We have our zigzag stitch pocket here, and we gave ourselves a little room here. And that is something that you can do intentionally. If you want, you can kind of squeeze this together to give yourself a little more space. And then we have our little guy here, and our glue is dry here. So now I'm gonna go and just trim that just so that it's not a glaring, you know, everybody doesn't know that and some of this is just like the quality of thread that you're using. I like to use Gutermann thread, but I like the sales at Hobby Lobby, so I use everyone's thread, but I will link Gutermann thread below. When you have metallic threads like this one, I think it's especially, you know, important that you get a good quality thread. But yeah, I'm gonna put these away, and I'm gonna come back and I'm just gonna talk to you a little bit about if you don't wanna stitch these, if you wanna try some other things that I have tried. Okay, so hold on one second. Okay, so I brought a new plate here, and if you are someone that is not a stitcher, okay, you don't want to sew, you don't have a sewing machine, you're not interested in using the one that you have, but you still want to make a loaded pocket, there are options for you. One of those options is hot glue. You could hot glue around here, stick your acetate on, and you could do it that way. Another thing, because sometimes acetate does not stick, something else that I have thought about and tried, in fact, is using a tiny attacher or a stapler. So if you want to say, this is just my leftover from my snow globe, but if you want to use this, you could actually take this and take a normal ordinary stapler, and you could go around and you could staple this all the way around. Okay, you could do that. That is an option. If you have a tiny attacher like the Tim Holtz, that also works for here. You could leave that if you like the look of it, because, you know, it could be cute. You could have staplers in different colors like that. That could be a super cute thing, and maybe I'll try that. I've never tried it, but I've just been thinking about some other things you can do besides sewing. That is an option. You could also hand stitch. You could get a needle and thread, which is not intimidating, and you could you know, get a bigger, I wouldn't get like a tiny little needle and thread. I would get like a sturdier one. So here are some that I use, and I don't use these for this, but I use them for rosettes. Something like this, like these are yarn darners, or a strong, you know, a strong needle like this one. These are DMC, something like this. And you could do a needle and thread all the way around, and you could stitch it just like you would stitch paper. If you're one of the people, you know, that die cuts and stitches on paper, that's another option. Another option for you, especially if you have a good sized, you know, flap here, like the edge is a good enough size, is you could use double-sided tape. So you could use, and I have, this is the scrapbook.com tape, which I do highly recommend. I also recommend, it's score tape, but sometimes on it, it says Sukwang. Let's see if I have some that I could show you. I don't have any right here, but I will link it in the description bar, and I buy it on Amazon. And that is another option for you. If you want to do that, then you would just put your tape and then stick your item on. Now, if you go with one of these options, if you do this tape, if you're okay with how it looks, that's fine. Just know that you run the risk of the best thing to do is to stitch or staple. So what I would do if I was doing, the double-sided tape, if I was doing double-sided tape, I would still put a few like staples if you really don't want to stitch, or I would take a needle and thread and just maybe reinforce right here and right here. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't want your project to fall apart. Like there's nothing worse, especially if you're doing a group swap and it's like YouTube and you know, everyone's looking at your project and it's so cute and it's falling apart. Like I have been there, I have done that. I have been on the receiving end and on the giving end of that. Okay. So I would, if I was going to use tape, I would use tape. It's fine, but I would reinforce it in some areas, and then I would just cover it up so that you don't know that it's tape. So here, you know, many options for this. You could do ribbon around, you could do, some kind of trim around. You could put like sequins, like big sequins, and glue them. I mean, diamond dots, if you're really bold and want to spend a million years, there's so many options for you to do to cover this up. If you want to use glue, you want to use double-sided tape, you want to use staples. And no one will be, you know, any wiser, and you will still have a cute pocket and it'll still be super cute. And actually some of those ideas might even be cuter than just having like, you know, an ordinary stitch. So you have lots of options here. Another thing that I have done is I have not used acetate. I've used paper instead of using acetate. So say I don't want my pocket to be clear. I think it's cute when you have a super cute plate, but say you just have a regular plate. You want to use a solid color plate, and the cuteness is going to be in the pocket. So then this is a great opportunity to use what sometimes I call orphan supplies, which are sheets of paper that you have that you have nothing else to go with. Okay, this is the perfect project for that. So if you are doing a circular, you know, round plate because you're entering a loaded paper swap, or you just want to do a gift like relatively cheaply, this is a great use of just your normal scrapbook supplies, a paper plate, or even a plastic one. And you could use some patterned paper, and that would be super cute. And I think I actually did that last year on a baking, like a Christmas baking swap that I was in. I used actual pattern paper. So there are so many options. Just try to think outside the box. And when you're looking at stuff, like you see something cute, it's like, yes, this would be a cute plate to eat on, of course. But I mean, there are so many fun things that can be done with this. So just, you know, have fun, be creative. And I've been having a lot of fun with sewing. But you know what I've been having the most fun? I think it's not just the sewing. It's just the fact that I've just been able to just have time to just have fun. And that is what crafting is all about. And so if this is something you've been wanting to try it. And if you try this and you make YouTube videos, please tag me. I would love to see. If you have Instagram, tag me on Instagram. If you have Instagram, but you don't post on Instagram, send me a DM in my Instagram with a picture of it. I would love to see it. If you try this and you don't take a picture, write a comment and let me know. And if you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure, and you have questions that are not related to your machine, please feel free to leave them and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And know that this is nothing we do basically in crafting is new. I mean, there are very few things that we have invented in 2025. There has been a lot of stuff done in a lot of years. So this is just my way of doing it. Hopefully this was helpful to you. I did give you my little tips and tricks and things that I have found that have helped me along the way. But maybe you have some, and if you do, link them in the description. Like let me know. Put them in the comments. Like if you have a way that you do this that makes things way easier for you, that may be helpful to me or even someone else in the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and this will be a series because there are so many things that I'm going to show you how to do. I'm going to show you how to do laminated napkins. I'm going to show you how to turn those into pockets. I'm going to show you how to make this into a shaker, and so like where the front of this is a shaker. I will show you how to do this with scrapbook paper. I am going to just try to spend this Christmas and holiday season just having fun and showing you some of the things that I've been doing. I have been paying attention to you guys and what you requested. And so if I know how to do it, and I'm happy to share. And if I don't, I'm happy to point you in the direction of someone that does. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.